It's not getting it.
All right, so before we get to the next segment of the podcast, I do want to acknowledge our sponsors really quick. The Majestic Restaurants Pendergast Club, where we are recording this podcast, and they have been so gracious as to let us record up here. Jay Rieger, they have a fantastic whiskey, gin, and vodka, and it is making its way to a bar or restaurant near you, trust me. And we want to thank them for their friendship to the podcast. And also, who is actually not on our panel tonight, but one of the podcast sponsors, actually Lane Boland. He is also a wealth manager, and he is a sponsor of podcasts, and we want to thank him for everything that he does to make sure that the podcast keeps on trucking. Which brings us to the actual topic of the podcast, and that is, what the fuck am I watching? Or movies that have blown your mind in a good or bad way. And I'll start with the most recent movie that I think I had the what the fuck are you happy watching moment, which was probably when the anonymous female had me watching The Machinist. Damn good movie.
Damn good movie.
Let me start by saying that. But I didn't know it was a damn good movie until the very damn end of the movie. Because the entire movie I kept going, what the hell you got me watching? The movie was so nuts. But it was such a powerful film, and I don't want to even give any of the movie away.
You can't say anything when you're watching it if you've seen it, because it's an amazing, mind-bending movie, and it has Christian Bale in it from before he became famous, and it's definitely acting chops. It's not looks.
No. This is serious acting shit going on.
If you haven't seen it, it's a good watch.
Yeah, definitely. Dave?
You know, I don't know if I remember the name of it or not, but I do remember I said to myself, what the fuck are you watching this for? It was, oh God, what was his name? In Matrix. Who was the Matrix star?
Keanu Reeves.
Oh, Keanu Reeves. And Sean, whatever his name, and it was the one where they always go, dude.
Oh, dude, where's my car?
Dude, where's my car? And I remember going, why in the fuck am I watching this? What? I mean, I just sit there and kept saying, what the Well, that's the most dumb fucking movie I've ever seen in my life.
But for whatever reason, you felt compelled to sit there
I watched the whole damn movie, of course.
Well, it could have been Dude, Where's My Car if it was the Keanu Reeves and Mike Myers. Was it Wayne's World? Or was that? No, that was Dana Carvey. That's right.
Well, was Keanu Reeves in Dude, Where's My Car?
Yeah.
That's Ashton Kutcher.
It was Ashton Kutcher.
Well, it was Ashton Kutcher, you're right.
Yeah, Sean William Scott. That's right.
Well, see, that's how bad it was. I couldn't remember who even the stars
I
were.
understand now.
Nor do I want to.
No.
Mine would have been Paris is Burning.
Oh. Yeah.
He had me watch.
Yeah, I had her watch.
Have you seen that?
No. So
I saw the first. Is that the sequel of the?
No.
So
Paris is Burning is actually a documentary about
transgender community in New York.
Yeah, so everybody at the table is familiar with house music. So actually, the term house music comes from in New York in the 80s. They had basically for kind of gays and gays and transgender people. They had what they called houses, and most of them.
It really was like how you think of fashion today, the house of whatever,
right,
the house of this person.
Yeah,
they really had the house of.
Yeah, it was the house of LaBeija, the house of Saint Laurent, the house of Extravaganza was one of the houses, but it was basically
you didn't say it right.
well, I'll get to that in a minute. So they would, and like I said, it's a documentary. And so what was happening back then was there was so many of these guys were getting kind of, thrown out of their houses and all that kind of stuff. So they were coming together and forming families.
Community.
But they would
It really was.
But they would do these. They would do these productions, and I can't even remember what they called them, but it was basically they called them balls. So they get together and they would compete in these balls, and they'd have categories. It was like best dressed.
Best dance.
Yeah,
it was
best
all
dancer.
kinds of.
Who could pass? Like you could pass as a straight man, or who could pass if you were transgender. Who could pass as a woman? Like they'd have like these elaborate categories, and they would compete against each other in these balls, and they were kind of this underground thing, and kind of the name of house music, not the actual music came from Chicago, but the name of house music actually came from these houses, but it was the first time I saw it, that was the first movie that had me going, what the fuck am I watching? But it's so,
which is kind of what I was thinking when I first watched it. But by the end of it, you have a better understanding of the trials and life that, especially in the 80s, that this culture went through, and in New York.
Yeah,
so it is a very crazy movie.
I'm sure.
Documentary, I will say that, but it really made me think about that culture differently.
Yeah, it's like I say, it's and some of the older, because that's actually kind of who wound up running houses, would be like some of these older guys who had just been living longer and had been through a lot of these trials and had been kicked out of their houses when they were so much younger, and they would just kind of collect people and be like, no, you just stay with me, just flop on my couch, or would just kind of be a big brother mentor type of a person to a younger guy, and it was just and there was a couple, because at first the first time I watched it, I actually thought it was gays and lesbians. Until I think the second time I wound up watching it, I realized there are no women in the movie. I was just like, it was
a whoa moment.
Oh man, it was. But it's actually a really good documentary. But it is one of those. What the fuck am I watching the first time you watch it? If I say, but yeah, I think the first time I heard him say the House of La Beja or the House of Extravaganza, I was like, wow. I was just like
selling it.
Just like what the with the full mesmerized face, like what the hell. So yeah, that was
with that.
That was it. Yeah, Ben.
I've got two that happened to me in two different parts of my life. I'm going to explain one and then just probably name the other. The first one was Old Boy, which is a Korean revenge flick. The premise, essentially, I'm just going to explain the basic premise, not to give anything away. There was a couple of Korean guys are out partying or whatever. One of them is really, really drunk, and he has... it's like his daughter's birthday, and he's out getting hammered, So he, calls home and tries to say, hey, I'm sorry, whatever, and then he gets literally kidnapped. His friend, went to go, try to get a cab or something, came right back, and he was gone and disappeared, erased. And then it turned out somebody had kidnapped him and then put him in a for-profit private indoor prison, which that timeline extended for years.
Wow.
in the film, and then he was essentially released to try to find out who did it and why.
That's craziness.
Yeah, and that's not really the most fucked up part about that movie, and it's awesome. I would recommend watching it, and don't watch it on Netflix. There's an American version. There's been a remake. Spike Lee did a remake of this movie.
Oh, okay.
And it's okay.
Okay.
But the
name of the Spike?
Oh, still Old Boy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Josh Brolin plays the protagonist in the American version. Still not a bad movie by all means.
But the Korean one.
You gotta watch the Korean one. It's phenomenal.
All right.
And it was just fuck, holy shit. Second one was I was living with a roommate for a while, and he always is torn to movies, so he had like just gobs and gobs of movies, and I heard I haven't heard of this movie, and heard it was very good, and didn't know anything about it though, zero. So I go into it knowing nothing, and the only preconceived notion I have of the movie is the title, and that was Dallas Buyers Club.
Oh, yeah.
That's a
good movie.
So especially going into it not knowing anything about what it is, I was like, it's going to be about rodeos or something, And then,
Totally wrong.
Then everything that happened, was just happening before my eyes and unfolding without knowing, what I was in for.
Any promise, yeah.
And it was incredibly powerful.
Got Jared Leto.
I was just like, oh my god, like this is just so sad. And watching the progression of this character and everything that happens within that community during that time period was just amazing.
I think it's hard watching movies like that when you know they're based on true stories.
Yeah, absolutely. And they killed it. They absolutely
Oh, yeah.
Both
Yeah.
did an amazing. Both of them.
Once
did an
again,
amazing
acting
job.
chops for your ass. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, I'm good.
Cam?
Well, like I said, I'm not a real big movie buff, but Love and Hip Hop. Love and Hip Hop is like, what the fuck am I watching? I mean, I can't wrap my mind around.
So not a movie, as you probably have guessed out there in podcast land.
Because I don't have any movies.
But I agree that it is definitely a what the fuck am I watching?
And shout out to all those people that are trying to get exposure and build a career and leverage.
Keep
I get
a career.
I just don't understand.
I don't understand reality TV.
Yeah, I don't understand how you would want any part of your life broadcast on national television, let alone the challenging parts and these emotional extremes. So
would you call that a guilty pleasure as well?
it is captivating, but I can only really watch it for 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But not in a negative way. I'm just saying, what the fuck am I watching?
Yeah.
Mark. Two that I can think of that came to mind quick. One that I like, but I still couldn't tell you anything like what it means. Donnie Darko. I have no idea
What the fuck?
I actually have not seen
the hell
that
is
yet.
actually really going on. I know
Very confusing.
I know the
That's
idea
probably
of
one
it.
of the only movies that I've seen Jake Gyllenhaal in.
Yeah.
Where I couldn't he actually did a good job. Well, I guess he is kind of a crazy actor anyway.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
yeah, he plays crazy.
Yeah, he
well.
played that.
Nightcrawler. I was about to say Nightcrawler could be
I
on that list
haven't
too.
seen that
What the
one,
hell?
but yeah, I just
Donnie Darko's one that I heard afterwards the director say what he was trying to do, but it's still
Weird.
It's
And
so
they
weird that it
reference
doesn't
that
really
movie in
you could have done that a lot of
so
different
many
ways.
things, yeah.
It's still a very entertaining movie. It's well acted, but it's just weird.
Yeah.
The next one would be and this is one that I despise, and not for the not even for the genre, for the culture or whatever, but Rocky Horror Picture Show. Mm-hmm. I watch part of it, and it's one of those, what am I doing? Why I don't get any of it. I dislike it. I was not a theater kid growing up, and theater kids love it. I get that.
I don't like it.
It is a cold hit.
I
but
haven't seen
can't.
the whole thing, and nor do I want to.
Guys,
It's so awful.
let me say this though. When I was in Houston, this way back in the 70s and early 80s, they did Rocky Horror Pictures. It was Rocky Horror Pictures show.
Yeah.
But the live performances.
You still do them.
Guys, they actually were fun.
The live
I mean, because you walk in,
performance, I could
especially if you're in
imagine would be
suits and
fun.
you're half drunk and you're sitting there going, the fuck are all these weird people? God, I love this.
Oh, man.
It was a great night of entertainment. You're right. The movie,
It's just
which I
a
started watching,
spectacle that I just don't need to see.
the movie was just not fun,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just so weird.
I say so. Before I know, because I know a couple people on the table need to go, so I will quickly ask, what are we smoking?
Jaime Garcia. I forget the one it is, but it's really good.
And
Kind of a little go-to. I had another one earlier, but just kind of my little go-to lately. Just Fuente Gran Reserva. They're consistent and it's a good smoke, good size. Like that little Double Robusto. It's a good size.
okay.
Romeo and Julieta. God, what was it? I forgot. It's just a great little cigar. It's an easy go-to.
Romeo,
It's
it's
inexpensive.
that
It's
gold
inexpensive as hell.
label. It's that gold label that they came
yeah.
out
Oh,
with.
the aging room one. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And I am smoking a Fuente Rosada.
Yep.
And like I say, good smoke. Actually, honestly, I bought a couple of cigars that I thought I was going to bring, and then I wound up leaving them. But I love this smoke. Like I say, it's easy. It's always good. So Fuente Rosada. And last but not least question, what are we drinking?
The drink of the summer for me is the Paloma, which
There you
I
go.
read was the national drink of Mexico.
Yep.
Not the margarita.
Still is.
And what is in a Paloma?
Well, the authentic, from what I've read, will be a good tequila, and it'll be squirt soda, and it'll be lime. So that's how I've read they drink it there. So that's how I drink it,
Right.
where you can get squirt.
I think they drink more squirt in Mexico than they drink in the U.S.
Yeah,
Drink a lot
it's
of
really good. And I get the
Don't
Mexican
find
squirt
squirt
too.
anymore.
You can get
Yeah.
the Mexican squirt with
Cane
the
sugar.
Yeah.
You can get that from like any like Costantino's up the
No,
street.
okay. Really? All right.
Yeah, there's some.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
cane,
Still-
cane
Yeah.
sugar sodas there now.
Dr. Pepper with cane sugar, which is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, actually, Patty,
They
yeah,
actually
absolutely.
keep those in like the refrigerated
Yeah,
section.
they do.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you want something refreshing, check it out.
All right. Mark?
Again, I guess on that gin and tonic kick, I guess that was what I kind of went to for a nice, light, easy drink. Little Rieger gin, some good tonic,
All right.
little lime.
Yeah.
A little Rieger vodka, a little soda, a big squeeze of lemon.
And I think maybe for the first time, the anonymous female.
I have the same thing that Mark is drinking, a Rieger gin and tonic with a twist of lime.
All right. Ben.
I just had some ginger ale and bitters because I am on the job.
Okay. All right. He is actually working this evening because this is a special edition.
Yes.
And not our normal podcast day. I am drinking a Rieger whiskey with a splash of tonic, as I usually do. So I want to thank everybody for coming out. I probably could extend our talk longer and would love to, but I know a couple people have to go. So I'm going to end this podcast in the same way that I end all podcasts, with the toast that kind of started this off for me. And that is to good times with good people.
Cheers, cheers.
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 Yeah.